My name's Robert Lee Taylor. I made this video to discuss the U.S. judicial and legal system. I'm tired of these things that I see that are going on in America with regard to corrupt judges, politicians, corrupt attorneys, corrupt prosecutors. I'm sick and fucking tired of corrupt police officers who make up stories, who lie, who fabricate, who conjure, who just make shit up, man. I've used analogies before. It's like a magician with a hat. He pulls a rabbit out of the hat. Or she pulls a rabbit out of the hat. It's an illusion, man. Fucking these attorneys will pull shit out of the air and just make shit up. These prosecutors will just make up stories. They'll just create their own realities out of thin air. That's the nature of some of these different politicians, attorneys, prosecutors, prosecuting attorneys, people in the legal court judicial system. They just make up shit, man. They make up their own laws. Pick up any fucking law book. Go to your public library system. Go to a legal library. Get a book from somebody on the subject of law and read it if you haven't already. You have constitutional rights. You have civil rights. There's a Bill of Rights. There's a Declaration of Independence. You have all these instruments of government. All these things are spelled out in plain fucking English right in front of you. The law is very obvious. It's very clear. It's very simple. It's a very simple, logically organized construct. Now, on the other hand, you have people who just want to make up their own laws, and their laws have no logic behind them. Their laws are impulsive and emotion-based. They're just laws based on emotion, some emotional impulse, some subjective, some fabrication, some thing that is a fallacy. It's just egregiously phony. It's a red herring. It's fake. It's artificial. It is subterfuge. It is subversive. They're just making up shit, man. They're making up their own fucking laws in America that are detrimental and deleterious to the American general public. All kinds of shit, man. Check it out. I'll give you some examples of some fucked up laws. I have recently been in some national security courses. I've been taking some national security courses in the past 10 years through the university, and I had to do some research. I had to go to some public meetings, and I had to interview some public officials and talk to them and meet with some, government types and folks and discuss certain matters with them for my university research. And I noticed when I was interviewing people in the public court sectors that you have people in these courtrooms who are in there for nothing. Some guy goes to the bar, has a drink, and he's walking home, and the cops stop him, and they're like, "You're drunk in public." What the fuck kind of shit is that, man? You work in America? You work in America, and you can't even have a drink at a tavern any longer? At a bar? Without some fucking stupid-ass, punk-ass cops harassing you for having a drink? I mean, man, I saw this guy, and I felt bad for him, man. I mean, he's dressed well, you know what I mean? He obviously works hard, and this dude is just like, man, the judge gave him a $30 fine. A $30 fucking fine. For what? First of all, why is this guy getting a fine? Because he's leaving a bar and some fucking stupid-ass cops are like, "Hey, buddy, what you doing?" And he's like, "Man, I'm just going home. Come here. Have you been drinking?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're under arrest. Put your hands behind your back." The dude wasn't disorderly. No. He was just in the U.S. nation's capital, working a job, going home, and some stupid fucking cops are like, "Hey, buddy, we don't like the fact that you're on your way home. We don't like the fact that you're Hispanic. Yeah, we don't like the fact that you're Latino. We don't like the fact that you're from Latin America. We don't like the fact that you're in America working hard, earning money, minding your own business, and enjoying yourself with a couple of brews after work. Cuff up." And they fucking took this guy to jail, man. That's the type of shit that is going on in the American legal judicial system. You ask where your tax dollars go? You ask where your money goes when you pay taxes? It goes to kangaroo courts, man. It goes to quasi-judicial, quasi-legal systems. Fake-ass, bogus-ass. Hey, you see the court system in one way. I see it in a different way. I see it as being a construct of an imaginary framework from someone's subjective mindset. That's all it is, man. It's a fucking house of cards. Someone stacked up and made something that is unreal. It's just a surreal, unreal thing, man. And someone's like, "Yeah, I'm the king. I'm the king in this little town, and I got my little drones out there." Hey, man, it's one thing if you're a law-abiding, upstanding citizen and you're trying to protect the people. Hey, that's different. If you're trying to do the right thing, that's cool. I'm tired of these people who aren't doing that. Now, here's a twist, man. I've worked with law enforcement. I've worked for the U.S. federal government as a contractor in Washington, D.C., and I've explained this in numerous videos. Okay? I stand behind men and women who work with law enforcement who are trying to do the right thing. The key is doing the right thing. The ones who aren't, oh, there are a lot of them, man. There are a lot of prosecuting attorneys who are not doing the right thing. Hey, man, go and check out some courthouses in America if you get a chance. And see how many fucking cases are backlogged. See how the American judicial system is inundated with a bunch of stupid motherfucking punks that are just making up stories. You know? Shit over broken windshields or someone leaving oh yeah, you know, this guy, he tossed a little tiny rock at my windshield and now I want to give him like 20 years in prison. This guy, he's leaving a bar, enjoying himself. I want to get, man, for what? What are these cases in court for, man? This is shit that human beings can solve outside the court without judges and prosecutors and these people being in office. They don't need to have these offices, man. They're not doing any fucking thing but wasting our money, our taxpayers' money. And, you know, another thing, man, is judges. I've noticed that judges are late in the morning times in a lot of cities in America. What the fuck kind of double standard is that? You're a judge and you're going to give somebody a jail sentence because he didn't show up on time to meet with the probation officer, or to pay a fine or a fee, or somebody loses money because she has to pay a fine if they don't pay their rent on time. It's called a late fee. But if you're a judge in America, oh no, man, you can show up fucking late. It's no problem. You're a judge sitting in the courtroom and you're prosecuting people along with the prosecutor for being late. You're handing out sentences to people for being late, but you're late yourself. You're giving people, you're handing down sentences to people who are 1 minute late. It's like people who go to jail for bullshit. They're in prison for a year and a day. They get out of prison, guess where they go? Some of these people, that's right, they're on probation. They go to some kind of halfway house. They go to some kind of camp, right? They're in what they call a work release program. Hey, if you're 1 fucking minute late to your work release program, guess what? You're going back to prison. You're going to fucking jail because you're 1 minute late. But it's cool for the judge to be 5 or 10 minutes late, right? That's a double standard, man. So this is what I propose, a new bill. I propose that we create a new law that if you become a peace officer, i.e. a police officer, law enforcement official, FBI, ICE, immigration, Department of Homeland Security, if you're a federal marshal, if you're federal, local, city, state, if you are a police, law enforcement, so-called peace officer, you should have to sign an agreement that if you ever abuse your power during the course of your work, when you're supposed to be protecting the American public, the general public, you should be held to a higher standard. Right now, you're not. Because you're making up fucking stories in America. You're sending people to jail and prison for some shit that you concocted in your mind. For some shit that you fucking totally made up in your mind. For some lies that you spun. And man, we could talk to some militia groups. We can talk to some freedom fighters, man. Some people who I've spoken with. And they'll tell you the same fucking thing. And we've all discussed this and we're in consensus. A lot of these different groups that I've spoken with, man, you're just making up stories against people, man. And about people. You're making up fucking stories. And the result thereof is that the American legal judicial court system is inundated with a bunch of bullshit. And there are a bunch of fucking so-called judges who are trying to create these double standards, and they, in many instances, are more corrupt, more criminal, more out of control, more sideways, more wayward, more illicit in their activities than the people who they are supposed to be prosecuting. Those fucking judges and those corrupt law enforcement officers, they need to be fucking debarred. They need to be ejected from their fucking offices. They need to be thrown in fucking jail and in prison for longer than the people who are going to jail and these prisons for traffic violations, for some shit he said, she said, some hearsay, some made up fucking